Hey, good thing I remembered to grab the camera before I start welding, or I wouldn't have anything to show you for today. Because today we are putting in the tie-ins for the subframe connectors. Well, it rained like crazy last night, and I do have a couple of leaks in the shop roof still. What I found was one of my cutoff wheels got a little wet. What do you think? Should I toss it? Or is it still good to go? It's not soaked, but it's wet around the edges. So these plates are mostly done. Passenger side here, got some primer on the back. Not a real heavy coat, but this is going to be the side up against the frame and other sheet metal, so it's really not going to get contacted with water or anything like that. Not real worried about it. So we got two for the passenger side, and we got two for the driver's side. They're basically the same. They're bent a little different to fit the driver's side versus passenger side. Oh, get these out of here. I did find that when I welded this section here, this side is a little higher or lower than this side. It goes for both connectors, but I wasn't exactly measuring when I put these in. I just wanted it mostly flat and solid. I was more interested in solid. So all this stuff was cut with a cutoff wheel and an angle grinder and just bent by hand because I don't have anything more fancy than that. These plates were cut on my little miniature bench shear. That did help a lot. It removes material real fast, and these are all straight cuts mostly. This first one I did was accidentally made it out of 18 gauge instead of 16 gauge, but made up a couple more. We'll use that for something somewhere. And yeah, I'm using up as many scrap pieces as I can because I don't have a lot of big flat nice sheet. There's the rest of the leftovers from wheel tubs and other stuff, but we're even going to see if we can get maybe a couple of patch panels out of this for floor and whatnot. I just don't have money to go buy a nice new sheet, and I have this sitting around, so why not use it? Use it up. Don't let it go to waste. No experimentation with welder settings today. We're just going with 14 gauge setting because that's what this is. And these are, I think, 095 wall tube, and that is 16 gauge, so we'll be careful when welding into the frame rail. And this side we won't have to worry about much. I'm going to come in here and weld up these little slices I made to bring, when I brought this tube up flush, and then we will be tacking these in place, making sure everything looks good, and then we'll make a paper template for the bottom plate that ties all this together, and we'll weld it up. And then after we do the fronts, we'll come back here and add these guys in to the rears. And I have to decide if I'm going to plate those fully, if I'm going to leave a little bit of a shear plane. I'll explain more of that later. Right now, let's get to welding. That's more of that zinc smoke from the galvanized frame rail. I was not able to get all off in some of those corners because I don't have a tool to remove the zinc. So we're just going to get the door open, the shop door, get the fan going. We're going to stay out of the smoke. tell you I don't like welding upside down? That's basically it. Yeah, I don't like welding upside down. That kind of stuff sucks. I got a little gap there I gotta fill, and the light isn't great, and you know. So if you ever seen these fish mouth shapes on the end of plates, it's mostly because you don't want a straight weld top to bottom, because then you build a big stress concentrator right there on your base material. Heating and cooling metal like that and adding the fairly hard weld metal in there can make it crack later. You know, you stress it a lot. So in this application, the sidewalls don't carry a lot of load. The corner structures that you make do, especially for this subframe connector, which is to help resist twisting. It's, you know, having this shape is not going to negatively affect the strength of this joint. It should help it in regards to fatigue strength over time. Well, that didn't go great. I think I need a new blade in my razor. Yeah, it's not bad for first attempt. If it was much closer, I'd just be welding it on. So, let's trim it up. And just like that, here's our trimmed up piece. Doesn't look much different, but it just took you know, a 1/16 here and there. And it fits up fairly nice. I think I'm okay with that. So now I'm just gonna grind the fish mouth shape in the ends. Not as exaggerated as what I have up there, because I kind of got carried away. But we'll put a little cutout in each end, and we'll tack it in place, and I'll get you in for a nice close-up view. So the idea here is I left a gap between these two plates so I can actually push the puddle into the frame rail and get all this in one bead. That may not have been a good choice, but we're going to see how it goes. I'm going to get this fully welded up, and well, that's going to be about it for this side. Maybe a little grinding to just clean it up and make it look a little nicer. And then we'll go back there. Where are we going? Way back there. Somewhere. Well, I'm sure I'm quoting someone somewhere when I say it was going well until it wasn't. Some of those welds went really nice, and then things got ugly. Definitely wish I could have got all of the zinc off of the original sheet metal, because that became a problem. And I think that in between the layers of sheet metal and the original body, there's too much gunk in there. So anytime that you blow through, you get contamination in the base part of your weld. So I'm not real excited about those welds. Are they solid? Yeah. Are they beautiful? No. A few of them look pretty nice. Are they going to fail? Probably not. I'll show you a few of the welds and you can judge for yourself. I I had two spots, one on each side, where almost the entire run was very porous, and I don't know if that was that contamination between layers, or if it was some of the zinc that I should have ground off more, or the one possibility is that as I was laying on the creeper under there, I was holding my gun too far away from the metal, from the joint, and I couldn't see it well because my head was a long ways away out down on the creeper. So after I'm done cleaning it up now, I'm going to come to the back and get that plate put in, and then next weekend when I'm out here, I'm going to come back with a light and look at it again later after kind of forgetting about it for a week and see how I really feel about it. And if I need to grind out more, then we will get the stone wheel on the angle grinder and we will hog that stuff out. It's going to suck, but it might need to be done. So this seam and the matching one on the other side is where it was so porous I had to grind it off completely and then weld over top. So that's a little proud because I probably should have adjusted my welder settings for that cap. This back end looks pretty good. There's a little porosity here on this tube, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the primer that I put on the other side was trying to escape. And then where it joins the body line is less than ideal. I don't know how it looks on camera. Light's pretty bright here, but this and in through here, yeah. I don't think I really need to wait and come back and look. This is going to get ground out and re-welded because I'm not sure how well that's welded underneath. And then the back looks kind of ugly, but it's actually fairly solid. I had a couple spots where I wavered a little bit when I was welding, so I went back and filled over top to, get that little gap. And that always looks ugly when I do that because I'm not a pro. And then kind of the same story on the inside. The fish mouth went really well. Again, porosity along here. And this is original frame rail, so I'm thinking that's the zinc that was off-gassing and trying to escape through the molten puddle. This wasn't so bad. Here's one of those gaps I had to go back over and fill. The backside is okay. This one went really, really nice. That's a single, I guess it's two welds. It's one pass. And it turned out really nice. I don't know why I couldn't replicate that up here. So we'll have to grind and clean and weld it again. But that's for another day. Because I'm sick of laying under here. Okay. Now this back patch panel fits pretty nice. Originally I was going to try and just tie this in. I put an end cap on here and I was just going to weld it here. But I did not prep this tube or this frame rail properly. So what I think I need to do is put this on. We'll weld it here. We'll put a plate here to cap it off. And right now I can get to all these surfaces and clean them, except maybe right there at that seam. That's going to suck. But we will cap this off, and then I can feel a little gap on the top. You can see I tried welding there once before, or maybe that's just a weld from the top side to fill a hole. I'm not sure. But I think we'll put a little piece of filler rod there, and we'll stitch weld it in just to try and tie in the trunk floor. Now here's something I've been considering. This is a strong piece of rectangle tube. Goes right up to the top where it joins into the original frame rail about there. Original frame rail there. This structure here, all the stud in the back is fairly strong. This tube is ridiculously strong, and it's pointed straight back, slightly down towards the back of the car. Now this, you can see flange here, so it comes in, down, across, up, and it's got another flange going that way. It's not a full box, and it's spot welded. All this structure here, and whatever was here, there was some give there if this car was to be rear-ended, right? Well, I've eliminated a lot of that. And this is going to be a street car, so there's a chance that some yahoo's going to run into the back end of this car. So, this is what I'm thinking. The fuel tank is right here. This is not going to give much. This is going to give. This is 16 gauge. I'm probably not going to weld this 100% solid. This is not welded solid. The joint between the tube and the frame rail is not solid, and we still have some original, you can't see it, but there's some original material here I bent over to tie into the tube here. This is all that's left of the original crumple zone, if you will, from the factory. So what I'm considering is I might run an extra tube on the outside of this, from side to side. There. From somewhere in here, across to there. The reason being, if it gets rear-ended, we'll push that tube in. No matter what, we're going to be squishing a fuel tank. But if the tube is strong, and this is still somewhat weak, this can crunch in. The fuel tank will probably move, and there's some space where it can go up against the rear end, and maybe we won't crush the tank so badly that it'll break open. I don't know if I can get a tank with a bladder in it for this car, nor do I know if I could afford a tank with a bladder in it. We're going with a fabricated tank to get a bigger capacity, probably 20-gallon capacity, so it hangs down the same amount, but it sticks up into the trunk 4 extra inches or something like that to give a few more gallons of fuel. So that's already gonna be expensive enough. I'm gonna keep considering this. I've been thinking about it for a while. If anybody's got some good ideas, let me know. But for now, for today, I am going to stitch weld this in place. And I think, I'll have to look at the clock, but I think I'm probably out of time for the weekend. So next time, I think next weekend, I will be in here and I will just be welding everything, finishing it all out. This joint, the other one, the front one up there that I haven't done, grinding off the bad welds here, and we're up there and redoing it. And I will give you an overview of how it all went. And then we'll decide maybe what we're going to work on next. All right? In any case, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.